Hi, John Marshall, DrillMaster. This is Patrick Henry High School, Navy NJROTC. Um, let's see. I was sent an email and said you should review this. Okay, I'll do it. Armed exhibition. It looks like right over here. This is a California drill meet. Um, I really miss California. We really enjoyed being stationed there. All right, so let's look at the hands first. Before we start out, you might think, well, that applies to hands. That applies to regulation drill. Yeah, it does, definitely. However, uniformity of technique is what we're looking for also. Not only, and sorry if I'm flashing here. Yeah, there, sun's coming through, and it's just really too nice of a day. Anyway, I'll try and keep my hands out of the sunlight, but so uniformity of technique is what we're looking for, not only in regulation drill but also in exhibition drill. Uniformity of technique in a horizontal and also a vertical um, um, viewpoint. So horizontal is over time. That applies to regulation drill definitely. You have to have the same technique every single time you come to attention, let's say. Every time you go to right shoulder, you have to have that same technique of the flared left hand and the elbow not pointing up, and there's so many other things that are involved there. But uniformity of technique in a vertical um, uh, viewpoint is just at one moment. So is everybody the same? And everybody isn't the same here. So we have first squad leader. Look at that, arm bent quite considerably, and then he has what I call the shelf. That's that big angle with the wrist. That's totally not necessary. Look, nice flat hand, armed angle or angled arm, but here also same thing going on. Now you're going to have a little bit of you got to have a little bit of a manipulation of the wrist, the fingers, there's you can't just have a straight hand and that's it. There has to be a certain modification of the hand, and that's fine. But most of the team has this uniform technique while standing at order. But first squad leader, absolutely not. And then also second squad, second rank, definitely not. These two are the same, but the rest of the team is quite different from them. The rest of the team is looks natural, and that's what we're looking for: natural movement and natural positioning. Speaking of natural, Commander, you have your hips pushed forward. Um, sure, your arm or your thumb is along the seam of the trouser leg, but your hips are pushed forward and your head is pushed forward. And so, what normal alignment is supposed to look like is the ear, the bone of the ear is over the center of the shoulder, it's over the center of the hip, then it's over the center of the ankle, and that's all nice one straight line. But you don't have that. You have uh, and there's terms for that. I don't know the exact terms, and I'm not here to diagnose anything. I'm just observing that you don't have a normal, healthy stance. This is a hips forward, head forward type of stance, and it doesn't bode well for your future, for your body. You're taxing your body in different ways that it shouldn't be. Plus, it also just doesn't look comfortable, and it's not the proper position of attention. All right, so I'm going to pause and see why I can't hear anything. So hold on just a second. All right, well, it helps to plug in the speakers. After a long trip, I've come home and thought I plugged in everything, but here we go. High energy opening really works well, keeping the great timing change there. Well done. So I want to go back. So there, yeah. So it looks like a couple of mistakes here and there, and I get that. That's not a big deal, really. It's the beginning of the season, and not everybody has their head completely in the game here. So sometimes it takes time. Look at the halt here. Um, so we're still looking at alignment. It is a military formation, even though this is exhibition drill. Alignment is a big thing. It can be an effectiveness killer when you're out of alignment. Nice ripple through. Timing issue, slight timing issue there, but that works really well. Love not only the ripple sequence, but also that the ripple was different for each of the squads there. That really worked well.
Good afternoon. Patrick Henry High School, NJROTC, from San Diego, California, is requesting permission to utilize your drill to conduct armed exhibition drill. Corporal. Very well, carry on. Adjourn! Corporal!
Nice. So it's the attention to detail, even with just the knowing the rank of your judge. That's great. So I want to go back right here. Watch the butt slams. Some great work here. So look at this position here. First squad, third rank. Look at the angle of the rifle as it's being for the butt slam. So he's pulling more into his chest instead of out here, like other team members are. So again, uniformity of technique is really going to help you. Nice, a variation of the beta move. It worked very well. Although, so maybe since the it's early season, that's why the cadence called. Otherwise, eliminate that. Nice job. Rifle drops, you just pick it up and you continue on, and you did that. Nice job on a quick recovery. I was just thinking about a cordon with two commander positions the other day, and here we have it. Oh, but you didn't use the cordon. You just moved into that position. So I've got to ask why. Why do that? You didn't have a pass through, and that's why I was going to talk about that as you were doing that. But so that really doesn't make sense to create the. So let's go to here. Some slight difficulties, and that's okay. So this is great. that it works really well. So you've got some difficulties already in the sequence. That's not a problem. It just takes practice. It takes time to work those difficulties out. Uh, so you got this nice position here, really powerful. The step forward works well. So just to make sure, it looks like body weight is on different feet, and I can't really tell from this position. So I want to go over that really quickly. So you've got the oh yeah, Mrs. Drillmaster cleaned my office, so all of my equipment isn't over here right now. So you've got your rifle in the sling forward kind of modified port position. Really powerful. The step forward with the right or left foot doesn't really matter. Uh, the step forward, that's good. Now, if you have your weight on your back foot, then it's not as powerful as putting your weight on the forward foot. There's a big difference. And I say this because it looks like he has his weight on his back foot. So do you see the difference here between him and him? Commander, it actually looks like you have your weight split in between both feet, but he has his left heel elevated quite possibly. I'm not exactly sure. So whether whether it's split, a split doesn't really communicate as powerfully as it could. Resting back on the back foot, that that doesn't communicate power really at all. That defeats the purpose of that modified port. But then having your weight forward on the forward foot so that your back is erect, your you have a straight line going through from your head all the way down that to that forward foot. That straight line is forward, and just in your face type of position. It really can work well, and so don't turn your head, Commander. Don't turn your head. This is not or regulation drill. You don't have to do that. You Just because you're not facing your troops doesn't that doesn't really work well here. Um, don't regulationize certain exhibition parts.
One, two, three. One, two.
So I have to say I liked the backup, the reverse there of the center. It didn't work as exactly as planned. I can see that by the feet, but the moving forward and backward, that works well toward the audience, away from the audience. Actually, Commander, I think you should have moved back with the center, because you're so. A lot of teams will keep the commander in the commander's spot. Really, there is no commander spot for exhibition drill. The commander can be anywhere. It can be part of the team, can be to the left, the right, the behind, whatever. So try to get out of that tight box thinking of regulation drill, and treat this as true exhibition drill that requires creativity. So here, Commander, you're in the traditional commander spot, and so your position. I'm not talking about you personally, but your position here is detracting from the the forward movement and the reverse movement, with you just staying right there, in essence blocking what's going on. And now I don't mean that you've pulled a curtain, but it's a similar effect, that the team is working behind you, and the audience is not able to take in the full picture. They see you plus a couple of different things on either side of you, of what's happening. And so I would suggest at that point, while the center rank is backing up, that you become part of the center rank. And I think that would work very well, um, to emphasize this part of the performance. So you step into a cordon, you align, good rifle work, not exactly happening as you'd want. All right. And then what are you going to do? You're going to move back into your block formation. So why did you get into this formation? If you, one of the, so I requested to write many years ago while I was active duty. My second duty station was Davis-Monthan. I requested to write drill for the Air Force Academy Drone Bugle Corps, and when I went up there with a friend of mine who was trying out for the Air Force Band as a percussionist. So when I got there, he was trying out. I was talking with the Drone Bugle Corps people, and there was a civilian there at the time who was writing the drill. and as we talked, I said, one of the biggest drawbacks of your drill is that you move to a position, and then you go back to your previous position, and then you move to another, and then you go back. It's always one step forward and then one step back. There's no progress there. It it's interesting drill, and it can keep the audience, but I'm relating it to this. So, but there was no progression, no progress through drill formations. And so here you start out in your block formation, and then two ranks push forward, one rank goes back, and then you, now I'm going to say something, I don't mean to be offensive here. All you do is rifle work, which is fine. Okay, now I'm you could do something more to march, have a rotation here with the rank that went back, and then bring it back together. But all you do is split rifle work and then come back together. So you reverse exactly what you did before, going back to that position, and it just doesn't. It's not a logical progression of movement there. The rifle work forward and back really does shows up well, honestly. That's so I gotta say that's really bad. That boy, that does not work at all, especially with you calling cadence there, Commander. Now again, I'm gonna put that caveat on there. It's the beginning of the season. However, that just that didn't work well at all. This does. This is really quite good. But the side steps and then the marching, the two marching forward, that is interesting. But so what I was talking about earlier about blocking, Commander, you're blocking now. You're definitely blocking. You should have been part of this. You're armed with a rifle, so you should be in the the line, and that whole setup just is quite awkward. Yeah, you should have been in the center, Commander. You really should have. Yeah, one of the main points of you being armed with a rifle is that you can join the team. at some point, or multiple points even, and then step out when you need to. But that transition into the line just didn't work well. Nice nod to the Army drill team there with that ripple and the soloist. So see here, you formed the cordon again. And Commander, you're blocking now. So you were blocking the long line, what the ripple line, and it, people shouldn't have to look and then be confronted with your backside and then watch the rest of the ripple, or whether it's a ripple or not. The audience should be able to look at the entire line. You don't see a break in that with the service drill teams. You don't see the commander um, uh, working in that manner to block, and you definitely don't see commanders standing at the end of the cordon the entire time while the rest of the team works. The commander's moving through. At some point, uh, uh, you know, showing the danger of rifles being tossed back and forth, being spun while the commander is walking through. There's no risk to the commander really at all because everybody's so highly trained, but it's the illusion that the audience likes. And so here you have two commander positions essentially facing each other. So and again, you don't do anything. Oh boy. So that's rather disappointing, honestly. You're not doing anything with the cordon, passing through nothing. And so the expectation is there by the audience, me in this case, and you're not utilizing. You form a cordon twice and don't use it. So the logic there is totally gone. That why are you even there in that position? So especially with the commander at the front blocking, you've got rifle exchanges going on, some really nice rifle work happening, and that's fine. But but why are you there? What's the purpose of you being in that formation, especially with one individual at each end? Now, usually you'll have, since there's an odd number there with the commander at the point, usually that one at the opposite end will be over on whichever side, out of the way, so that there's just one commander position who can march back and forth through there, which I would suggest. So the little tiny movements, Commander, I was just watching you and nobody else. But watch the feet. There's no need for this. That tiny movement there and then that movement. There's no need for it. You're there. Just stick the landing. Just do it and stay there. It's distracting to have you gotta line up exactly. No, actually you don't. Just a slight bit off is not that big of an issue until you call attention to it by moving back and forth. So Let me watch the rest of the team here. That was close. Not too bad. So, again, early season, I get it. There's some things that you need to work out. Always liked the sweeping motion there. It really works well.
Good afternoon, Corporal. This concludes Andrew High School Armed Exhibition Jump Bait. Request permission to exit your area, Corporal. Very well, carry on. Ajay, Corporal, LG. Blood, blood.
So I suggest performing out rather than, instead of reforming and then doing this, perform to if you want to reform, perform to your block, and then form your block and perform out. You started to, and the cadence calling really needs to go. You can count it out, not a problem. And really, there was several times there was no need for the commander to call cadence at all. So, what's interesting about the fallout? Teams can create their own. So it's tradition to have a unit create their own fallout, motivational, whatever they want to do. But technically, you don't have to do anything. You just walk away from the formation. That's what fallout is. Dismissed. You just go. There's a step back isn't required. About face isn't required. Saying anything isn't required. You just leave. Bye. See ya. Now, having something specific to your unit, that creates more esprit de corps, and that's why units have done that traditionally. But and that works for the team. It works well, and I appreciate that very much. Now, uh, uh, I suggest using the cordon at least once, and I would suggest not forming it twice. Although, if you want to form it and then have it dissolve immediately, it's, my mind starts to go with, oh yeah, you could, my drill rating days, you could do this and this and if you wanted a suggestion, I can write it down. I can send it to you. Let me know. But um, but like I said several times during the performance, it's early days yet, and there's a lot of work to be done, but there's great potential there. I can see the training coming forth. It really works well, honestly, in many, many instances. Loved this move. This was really good. Having the turnaround and split off again, that was just fantastic. You did such a good job in many areas, and it just takes more time. So, really great job by the team. Evidence of training there, evidence of long practice hours, and there's many more to come this year. So, um, I wish you all the best. And if you have another performance you'd like me to see, then definitely let me know. Thanks, everyone.